Hi, my name is Candace Hawes. Thanks for watching the Friends of the Farm lecture series. Each session is designed to deliver a small and in depth dose of cannabis education. I wanted to thank all of our viewers and customers for joining us from the pharmacy, the pottery, and the Natural Healing Center, as well as all of our friends joining us from around the world. We have other incredible webinars from Plant EDG, who's going to be our speaker today, on cultivation, mental health, as well as other webinars from other speakers on formulations, sustainability, medical uses, history, travel, and cannabinoids. So please make sure to hit subscribe so you get notified when we post future cannabis content. In today's webinar, we're talking shopping terpenes with Laura Getz from Plant EDG. As the saying goes, the nose knows. For decades, cannabis consumers have been instinctively choosing cannabis cultivars based on aroma, alongside the visual appeal and other factors. Even without fully understanding the science, we've been gravitating towards strains that have provided us positive experiences, often guided by the familiar scents that we enjoy. Conversely, we've steered clear of those aromas that don't resonate with us. Today, thanks to the growing knowledge and research on terpenes, we understand that there's more to aromatic properties of cannabis than just the smell. Our natural selection process is deeply rooted in the science of terpenes, which plays a significant role in shaping our overall experience with cannabis. I'm so excited to have our guest today, Laura Getz. Laura is an educator and activist. She's also a mom to a wonderful son on the autism spectrum and a supportive wife to a husband who runs a compassionate care program and support group. Laura previously worked in the banking industry as a vice president and moved into the world of cannabis many years ago to help bring plant medicine and education to vulnerable populations. She's also the chief financial officer of Plant EDG. Plant EDG is a cannabis education consultancy organization that provides cannabis consumers the educational foundation to make informed decisions that best align with their health needs. Through their educational workshops, they bridge the gap between plant and consumers, as well as between brands and dispensaries. Pharmacy, pottery, and natural healing centers have all had the pleasure of hosting workshops with Plant EDG, and I'm honored to have her with us today as our guest and to talk about shopping by terpene. Thank you so much for being with us today and for being our guest speaker.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about terpenes. It is one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah, me too. And I'm really happy as we've seen, the science of cannabis and the way that consumers are buying cannabis and even the way that brands have started to package and label their cultivars or strains. That they've started to label by terpenes, that customers are now coming in and like asking, about which cultivars, which strains, have specific terpenes. I'm really happy to see this shift. And so that's why when you presented this course to the pharmacy, I thought you'd be the perfect person to come on. So thank you so much for putting this all together for us. I'm really excited to share this with the audience and to learn a little bit more about terpenes myself. I really loved this course when you brought it to us, and I know you've added some more to it. So thank you so much for being with us today, Laura.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, today we're shopping by terpene. We are going to tailor your cannabis experience. So this is me. I'm Laura. Most importantly, wife, mother, autism active advocate, and also I am a certified cannabis wellness advisor. Okay, terpenes are one of the most popular topics in cannabis today. What's your favorite terp is the new what's your sign? But what are they? Let's learn what they are. When you hear people talking about them, let's figure it out. So here's the science. This is where I tell you that I am not a scientist. I'm not a medical doctor. I have just some years of experience and lots of research. So terpenes are the natural compounds in plants that give them their smell. They're like nature's scents found in things like flowers, fruits, and herbs. People that don't know anything about cannabis or terpenes know about essential oils. So the essential oil is that smell that you get from an essential oil is the terpenes in different plants, lavender, oranges, or whatever. So the essential oil is the whole package. It's everything in that plant condensed down into, everything, just particles or whatever. So terpenes are the actual part of that gives something its smell and possibly its taste. So many of the medicinal benefits of cannabis come from the terpenes. So we're going to look today at the most common terpenes found in cannabis. We'll start with linalool because this is the one people will be most familiar with because it's commonly found in lavender. It's also found in ylang-ylang, bergamot, jasmine, and geranium. So we already know about lavender, right? When you hear lavender, you think, something to help you relax. We use lavender baths for babies to help them, wind down. So, if you see something with linalool, that's going to be relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
So some other things about it, it's believed to have anxiety reducing and sedative effects. This makes it potentially beneficial for those seeking relaxation and stress relief. It's also been found to be an anti-inflammatory and has pain relief properties that make it a great candidate for pain management and for reducing inflammation. There are studies showing that it may have anticonvulsant properties, which could be relevant for conditions characterized by seizures. So today I'm going to be highlighting Glasshouse Farms strains that you can buy in their stores, pharmacy. Santa Ana's the one I shop at. Their packaging is really great now because they're showing the dominant terpenes right there on the front of the package. So you can see that this one has linalool. It is the third terpene and not the first. You're not going to find very many strains that are dominant linalool. It just doesn't happen. Most you'll see from what I'm going to show you tonight that most strains are dominant in myrcene or caryophyllene. It's just the way it is. And then the other terpenes that come after it in a little bit lower doses are going to kind of play off of that dominant one. And that's where you're going to get the different effects. But this gelato is definitely relaxing, and the linalool really comes through in that. So next we're going to talk about myrcene. Myrcene is found in hops, mangoes, and thyme. You will hear people, experienced cannabis users, tell you that if they eat mango along with consuming their cannabis, that they feel more effects from it. And that's because the mangoes have myrcene also, so you're getting that extra terpene effect when you eat the mango. So myrcene is thought to have relaxing and sedating effects. It may also have anti-inflammatory and pain-relieving properties. Myrcene can have sedating effects and contribute to that couch lock sensation. So if you have something that's high in myrcene without any other dominant terpenes, you're gonna want to just be kind of sitting around and watching your Netflix. But as we, like this one, Super Silver Haze, this is a really good example. Its dominant terp is myrcene, so it's a happy, comfortable, relaxed high. That caryophyllene, which we're going to learn about later, is very relaxing. But then it's going to be also kind of high in limonene, which is going to keep you awake. So even though this is packaged as a sativa, which is usually uplifting, this myrcene and caryophyllene they're going to keep you down. You're going to be alert, but you're not going to want to go, work.
Yeah, that is interesting that they have sedating and relaxing terpenes is like the dominant, but then they have, the uplifting terpene is like the third dominant, so that balance maybe is why people really like it and they have that good feeling. Very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So next, we're going to talk about limonene. So limonene is just a fan favorite. Strains high in limonene are like sour tangy and those really orangey strains. As soon as you open the package, you can smell it. It's like orange juice. You think about it in the morning, you want, an orange juice or a mimosa. It reminds you of just kind of waking up. And that's what limonene does for you. It's found in citrus fruits like lemons, oranges, and grapefruits. It's known for its uplifting and mood enhancing properties. A lot of people that suffer from depression or anxiety like that uplifting feeling that limonene can give you. So limonene is believed to have mood enhancing effects. It may contribute to feelings of upliftment, alertness, and stress relief. It may also have anti-inflammatory effects, which could be relevant for conditions associated with inflammation. It's also used in some traditional medicine practices for its potential digestive benefits. It may help with issues like indigestion and heartburn. So a good one, if you're interested in trying limonene, morning berry is a great choice. Its dominant terpene is myrcene, which is that, just makes your body feel good and comfy and relaxed. But also with limonene as its second most dominant, it's really going to be keep you wakeful and alert and happy. And then that little caryophyllene at the end, also just to keep you relaxed. You'll see that most cannabis is high in myrcene and caryophyllene, and that's really what you're looking for. I don't think anyone is really using cannabis to not feel, comfortable in their skin, and that's really where myrcene and caryophyllene help you out.
Good combo.
Yeah. So pinene is really interesting. Okay, so it's found obviously in pine trees, rosemary, and some other strains. It has a pine-like aroma, and it's being studied for its anti-inflammatory effects. The thing about pinene is it's actually really hard to find in cannabis. And if you do find it, it's in very small amounts. I always thought that the strains that smelled kind of like pine sol or whatever, that those were high in pinene, but they're actually not. It's just a combination of a couple other terps that kind of give you that gassy kind of smell. Sour diesel is the one that always comes to mind. So pinene is actually, if you can find something high in pinene, you'll definitely know, because when you open it up, it will smell like a pine tree. So pinene is believed to have anti-inflammatory properties, which may be beneficial for conditions involving inflammation. A really interesting thing about pinene is that it acts as a bronchodilator. Some studies suggest that pinene may act as a bronchodilator, potentially helping to open up airways. This could be relevant for respiratory conditions like asthma, also COPD, emphysema. This is kind of the opposite of what people would think, that if you were inhaling anything, that it would be bad for your lungs. But these studies are showing that it's actually good and can, people can ward off asthma attacks by just inhaling the right type of cannabis. In these situations, you wouldn't be smoking a joint or hitting a bong. You would be using, either a dry herb vaporizer or something like that, where you're just getting the good part of the plant and you're not burning anything.
Yeah, it is counterintuitive, but you're completely right. Cannabis is a bronchodilator, and so it works really well.
Yeah. And then also pinene improves focus and alertness. There are some studies out there showing that it might actually promote mental clarity in older people. That's another thing that they always say about cannabis, is that it makes you dumb, it makes you not remember, it kills brain cells. The things they used to tell us, in the 80s when I was a teenager, that, the joint was equivalent to 1,000 cigarettes or something, just crazy stuff. But now we're finding out that it could have cognitive enhancing effects, promoting alertness and mental clarity. So that's good news on the horizon. So Blue Dream is one of the strains that you can find that is actually pretty high in pinene. I've noticed Blue Dream seems to kind of go in and out of the dispensaries, even though it seems like it's always been a fan favorite. I'm sure that has to do with the growing cycles and all of that. But Blue Dream is it's an excellent strain for new consumers, people that are going into the dispensary and they don't really know what they should buy, and they want to try something that's kind of middle of the road that a lot of people enjoy, and that would be your Blue Dream.
Yeah, Blue Dream is also a good one for people cultivating for the first time too. It's like a really resilient plant, really good yielder as well. Really friendly to people that are trying for the first time.
Right. And that's important because it's hard to grow.
Yeah.
Okay, we have humulene. So this is found in hops, sage, and ginseng, often associated with earthy, woody scents, and may have appetite suppressant qualities. So if your cannabis gives you the munchies, humulene might be something that you want to look at. So some studies suggest that humulene may act as an appetite suppressant, which could be helpful for weight management. It has demonstrated antimicrobial properties, making it potentially useful in fighting bacterial and fungal infections. And there's also some evidence suggesting that humulene may have pain relieving properties.
I love that.
GG4, another fan favorite. In the autism world, this is a really popular strain for dealing with autism meltdowns. It's super, super calming. That mix of caryophyllene with the humulene. And it's always strange to me that it has limonene because it's uplifting. But when you mix it with those other ones, it just calms you down without actually putting you to sleep, which is really important because every time you want to relax, you might not necessarily want to have to go to bed. But GG4 is an excellent choice for calming down.
And then also with some kiddos too, they have like the opposite effect that traditionally people would have too, like a stimulating, herb or medicine might have the opposite effect with that kind of kiddo too. So
it is. That's treating somebody with autism is its own game. A lot of opposites, a lot of kids need uplifting to kind of counteract them. A lot of them need to go lower to do that. There's some strains that just send some kids over the edge. So anything purple always seems to be good. I don't know. That's really random information. But if you're trying to calm down and it's something to do with grape or purple, that's great.
That's really good information.
Yeah. Granddaddy purple comes to mind. Okay, terpenoline. This is my husband's favorite. It's found in apples, cumin, and lilacs. If you open a bag of flour and you smell fruity pebbles, you are smelling that terpenoline. It just smells great, really great. And it's the terp that gives you that euphoric feeling. I guess we'll get to that. So studies suggest that terpenoline may have potential anti-cancer properties. It may have anxiety-reducing effects, contributing to its potential calming properties. Terpenoline is known to interact with other terpenes to cause uplifting as well as sedating effects. And it also brings on the euphoric feeling that can help with depression. So I found with terpenoline, it really depends on what it's paired with, what the other terpene is. It seems more than any of the others to really take on the characteristics of the things around it, but keeping that euphoric feeling. If you ever had good cannabis that just gives you like that double rainbow kind of feeling where just nature's wonderful and life is great and your body just feels good, you've got some terpenoline in there.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool. I've never actually heard anybody explain that about terpenoline. That's really neat.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So this is my husband's favorite right now, Lilac Diesel. I do believe that it won, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Golden Bear at the State Fair?
Yeah, in 2024, it won the California State Fair's Golden Bear for the mixed light category. So there's like a sun-grown and indoor and a mixed light category. So it won in the whole category. Then it also won for terpenes. And that was a category that was won by lab results, according to just the lab results. It's just really cool. And it won also for like ocinamine, which was another terpene as well. So not even for terpenoline, but for ocinamine, which is like a very minor cannabinoid that most people don't even like really know much about. But that's really cool. And I like one of my favorite too.
Yeah, it's great. I usually don't go for the more uplifting. We're not supposed to say sativa and indica anymore. We're supposed to be getting away with that. And that's why we have these terpene talks. But people know what I'm talking about when I say it. So I would usually stay away from something labeled sativa. But this one is just great. It doesn't have any of that head zingy thing that I get from limonene. It just keeps you awake and happy and makes you feel good. So this is another one, actually, like the Blue Dream. If you're not really sure what to buy and you want to try something new, this is safe. Lilac diesel is some great flower.
Yeah, smells good, tastes good, has a nice effect.
Exactly. So now we're down to the last terpene I'm going to talk about tonight, and it's caryophyllene. So this terpene is just magical. During a lot of my presentation, when I talk about possible benefits, I always say may or might. And that's because there's a lot of evidence pointing to those things, and there is some research being done. But caryophyllene has been researched for years and years because it's so predominantly found in like black pepper, cloves, and other herbs. And so people have always known that black pepper was good for treating pain and all of these other things. So for years and years and years, there have been studies done on caryophyllene, not specific to cannabis, but it has the same properties. They also believe that, not yet proven yet, but that the terpenes in cannabis might work better than the terpenes from some of these other botanicals that they're taking them from. And that's because of that entourage effect of all the different cannabinoids and terpenes working together in the plant. Okay, so caryophyllene, it has a spicy, peppery aroma. It's really known for its anti-inflammatory properties. I'll tell you, this one, if you open the package, you probably smell garlic. Some people say they smell pepper. I've also opened caryophyllene, high bags where it smells like somebody picked a whole basket of herbs, and you can smell them all. So scientists have found caryophyllene can directly activate cannabinoid receptors. This means that cannabis plants with a lot of caryophyllene might have special healing effects because of how this terpene works in our bodies. We haven't discovered yet any of the other terpenes that actually interact with our endocannabinoid system. They might have now. I mean, research is changing so quick, it's difficult to keep up with it all at this point. But for now, caryophyllene reacts in our bodies in a way that the other terpenes don't. This one is it's really true magic. So it's believed that caryophyllene could help to reduce or soothe inflammation in the body. A 2018 study on rats showed that this terpene helped to calm inflammation caused by arthritis. You'll notice that the dates on these are older. This isn't like research. This is stuff that the researchers have known for years about these cannabinoids or these terpenes. So a 2016 study produced promising results on the concept of caryophyllene being used to help treat cancer. More studies are needed, but the 2016 research suggested that this terpene was able to slow the growth of cancerous cells. So like many other terpenes, caryophyllene has been listed as a possible ingredient to ease feelings of stress and anxiety. One 2014 study involving mice found that caryophyllene had mood-enhancing properties. Pain relief, it's even possible that caryophyllene could help soothe pain. A 2013 study with mice showed that the animals experienced a lessening of pain responses after being injected with this particular terpene. So my go-to, because caryophyllene is my favorite, is garlic starship. I just love garlic starship. It is so relaxing. You can't have too much and you will go to sleep. So it's really high in caryophyllene. It says that the second dominant terpene is limonene, and I bet that if I looked at the labs, it was pretty low. I think the caryophyllene in this probably really outnumbers the limonene and the myrcene. This is excellent for pain relief, any kind of inflammation, joint pain, anything like that. Or if you have trouble sleeping, it's just so relaxing. It really calms your body down and takes away any of those things that you're feeling that interrupt your sleep.
Garlic starship's another one of my favorites too. And that's a really interesting point that you made too. I made a note to pull those test results too and look at that, because that's a really interesting point that you made.
I will let people know if they do purchase the Glasshouse Farm products, you can go online and look at the lab results. Some of the brands, it's really difficult to find them. Sometimes they have a QR code or whatever, but the website is really, in fact, I looked up some this morning and it was really helpful. Okay, so that is it for that. Some takeaways for you is cannabis is medicine. I truly believe that. I left my job in banking not really knowing what was going to happen, but just found that teaching people about the medicinal properties of cannabis is my calling. You need to be your own advocate. You need to try out different strains, take notes, find out what works best for you. Go into your dispensary. If you're not comfortable, go to a different one. Find bud tenders that like talking about terpenes. You'll find them. You'll find people that are just such a wealth of information. I learn something new every time. Every time I do an educational event, somebody raises their hand and has something, thought-provoking or something new.
I always get new questions. People ask me, I'm like, that's a really good question. No one's ever asked me that before. Thank you. It's not a good question, thought-provoking, and leads me on a path of research. So, I love speaking to new people and getting those kind of questions.
Yeah. So Plant EDG is partnered with Oaksterdam University. If you're interested in delving deeper, they have so many courses available, many free courses. If you choose a course that has a tuition, you can use our code Plant EDG for 10% off any of their courses. But just go on their website and look around. It's just so much information, and it's so fun to learn about cannabis. Coming out of this age of it being taboo, and now it's the hot thing that everybody wants to know about is really great. So go learn about it. Also, be an advocate for yourself and for others. Join NORML either at the national level, the state level, the local level. Orange County NORML, shout out. And just be part of that. Right now in California, we have a group of moms up there right now talking about, a hemp bill. They're just fighting to make sure that their kids have access to CBD. It's really beautiful. I mean, it's just people that had no idea. These are just moms. They're not even cannabis users themselves, but they want to help their kids. And NORML is a great way to get involved in that. So once again, I'm from Plant EDG. We do educational workshops. We have workshops coming up. We have one coming up this weekend. I ask that you go to our website, plantedg.com. Our calendar there will let you know where we are coming up. You can find us on Instagram at plant_edge. And that's it for me.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. This has been really fun and educational. I really appreciate all putting all this information together for us. Thank you so much. Do you have time for a couple questions from the audience?
Yeah, please.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and again, thank you again. And to follow up on what you said before, and I think it's really important to, if people didn't catch this before, as we're moving from old science to new science of cannabis, we're trying to get consumers away from, like you said, sativa, hybrid, which is not really so much, that's just mixing the two, and indica more is how the plant grows and where originally originated from, indicas being like short and like bushy and like how long they traditionally took to, mature. And the sativas originating from a different part of the planet and being like more spread out and like taller and originating from like hotter climates of the earth, and taking a different period of time to reach maturity, so it's more about like their growing patterns, and sometimes those tend to have like certain types of terpenes, and that's why they were kind of classified a certain way, that those kind of terpenes had this kind of effect, and that's maybe why they were classified together. And the indicas, the short bushy, ones maybe had these kind of terpenes, but as they've kind of become like, mixed and hybrided, now we're like, let's just go by terpene, because that's a better way to classify how they will actually give you, experience or a feeling, so that's what we're trying to move people that way. And then also when it comes to terpenes on packaging, it's not required currently. The Department of Cannabis Control requires that there is a lot of things that are tested for, depending on whether it's like a flower or a manufactured product or a vape or whatever it is. Terpenes is not one of those that's required. But if a cannabis product does list it, then they do have to test for it. So they can't just put it on there thinking that's what's on there. If they're going to put it, they do have to test for it. And you can, even if there's not an easy to scan QR code that's on there, a customer can request that that the dispensary pull that testing result for them there at the store. Sometimes it's not easy and quick, but they can ask for it, which is, so they can find out that like the balance and how much of, So I have one question too, and I know you might have some experience with this as well. Now, there might be some terpenes that don't work well with people. Can you talk about that and like how somebody might know if like a certain terpene doesn't work well for people?
Yeah, I'm a good example of that. I'm very sensitive by nature, and that I'm the girl with the food allergies and can't use lotion and all of that. I'm very sensitive to things, and I'm very sensitive to limonene. So when I smell that orange citrus, I know that's not for me, and it's possibly going to give me a headache. From my husband's experience, if I give him that garlic starship, he's going to go to sleep and there's nothing he can do about it. I can go about my day on something like that and it just evens me out. No good for him. He's going to have to go lay down. So yeah, definitely you have to keep track of it. I know I've heard of people that have saying, oh yeah, I tried it, but didn't do anything for me. Well, it's because you got the wrong terp. That's why it didn't do anything for you. So that's just, you have to keep track of it, keep a little notebook and
yeah, exactly.
Find out.
Yeah, it's just like maybe it was the wrong, when a new consumer is trying cannabis, it could be the wrong dose. It could be the wrong terpene-based product they're using. So there's a lot of different variables in a new customer experience to control. Yeah, thank you. That's a good answer. Another question we have coming in is, how important do you think that the terpene are for a medical cannabis user?
It's the most important part. It's really where where your relief's going to come from for whatever you're looking for. And it's not necessarily just for physical maladies. It's for mental health too. Medicinal cannabis is also for your mental health. And some people need those uplifting terps and other people need something to settle them down. I need to be settled down because my mind's already going 100 miles per hour. So I don't really need any extra help with that. But for other people, they actually need those uplifting terps to actually calm down their brains. Just like, my husband has ADHD and it's something that they would treat, in the olden days with those, I don't want to say speed but you know what I mean? And because it kind of had an opposite effect on ADHD people, like people will drink coffee. So that's why he needs those more uplifting to actually calm him down. So yeah, it's all medicine. It's about finding the right prescription for you. And you have to pretty much do it on your own because it's hard to find a doctor that will prescribe you a terpene.
Yeah, it's true. And especially nowadays, they want to stay away from treating cannabis like a prescription medicine. So they want to stay away from those specifics as well,
Right.
Another question is somebody's asking, what do you think the most effective method is for preserving the terpenes? Like an edible versus tincture versus like inhalation. Like if somebody really wants to, like use cannabis medically, like and by terpene, what do you think?
I think it really depends on your preference and finding a product from a reputable company that you know is processing everything correctly. There's some really great tinctures out there, but you just want to look at tinctures are great because you can dose them and you can start low. You just want to make sure that you're looking at the labs and you know what you're getting. Yeah, just the cleanest way. The cleanest method that you can use to take that in is going to be the best medicinally.
Yeah.
Sometimes if burning things, you burn it too high of a rate and it burns off some of that's a lot of science that I can't like get into because I don't know. But yeah, it's just, you just want to watch what you're burning. And if you're using it for medicine and you're new, go for a tincture.
Yeah, I would say probably like I would agree with that. Like probably tincture or like flour, and then maybe even like vaporizing so that you're not burning at a high temperature as well. And again, we're not like food scientists or formulators, so we're probably not the best ones to answer this question. But I would also say that like in a lot of like edible products too, like I worry about the temperature that they're manufacturing these products and like whether some of those terpenes are baked off and you're just like left with THC, and maybe they're even using like a distillate that doesn't have like any terpenes. So you really want to, pay close attention to like, the source of the cannabinoids when you're buying edible products, and
there is that, there's a push now, even with flour, to add botanical terpenes to products. So you can advertise as, this has this terpene, but it's not necessarily from cannabis. Mm-hmm. So that should be something that you're looking for. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I know that people like the flavors and smells they can get from cannabis with those, those infused pre-rolls and that kind of thing. But if you're looking at it medically for the actual terpenes, you need to kind of stay away from that.
Yeah. Another question somebody's asking is, typically in packaging, things are listed in like the order of like how they're, present, like the majority, like, is that also in the cannabis industry, like the majority and then the lesser ingredients listed?
I believe that that's how they're doing it. I'm seeing more and more terpenes listed on, actual jars or packages. That seems newer to me. Glasshouse Farms has been doing it. But yeah, I would, you can't be sure about anything unless you see the labs. I'm a lab nerd. I print them out. Like when I get something new and I read them, I go over them. So you're really not going to know unless you look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. So I'm going to end the questions there, and I have a couple more that I wanted to get back to you guys separately, and I'll do that. I'll send you guys some emails. We've had a lot of really great questions, and I just wanted to like summarize the poll questions because we asked the audience as well. Have you guys ever shot by terpene before? And we had about like an even split. About half the audience had shot by terpene before. Half of the audience was brand new, so they were going to take this information and they were going to apply it in the real world. So I hope that you guys learned something that was really beneficial. And it seems like of our other questions, we asked people, what is your favorite terpene? And we have our three favorites where people were saying myrcene, linalool, and caryophyllene were our three favorites. And the people also said they don't know yet. And they actually came and talked. So they were just kind of split between all of them because you gave they all sounded wonderful. So, but this is really good information, it's so insightful. And then how, if people wanted to follow you specifically, Laura, how can they get a hold of you or follow you?
Well, you could DM us at Plant EDG and just ask. You could find me on there. I'm Laura Getz. You can find me.
Perfect. And I love your whole crew. Shout out to Loeli and Leanne and Nick and Emily. You guys are all so wonderful. And I love what you guys do at Plant EDG, really educating consumers and really helping out like all the folks in the cannabis industry. You guys are all such great people, and I love working with you. And thank you guys, everybody, for being with us today. So again, thank you, Laura, for being our speaker today and bringing us all this wonderful information. Thank you to all of our guests for being here today and for your wonderful questions that you submitted. I hope that we were all able to share some information with everybody here today that will help you become better informed cannabis consumers, and the information that we shared will help you find relief. Look forward to seeing you for another episode of the Friends of the Farm Lecture Series.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.